podcast is part of the Batman Universe Podcast Network, hosted by thebatmanuniverse.net. Here, we love talking about everything Batman. The BatmanUniverse.net has news, original content, and reviews about Batman comics, movies, TV shows, video games, and more. Check out thebatmanuniverse.net and join our Discord server to start chatting with fellow fans. We can't wait to talk to you guys. Also, visit our Patreon page and join our other awesome supporters. But enough of this nonsense. On with the show.
Welcome to the Batman Universe Comic Podcast, Season 15, Episode 22. I'm your host, Ian.
And this is Steph.
And we are sadly absent Theo. Our prayers and thoughts go to Theo. Hopefully he's okay, but he couldn't make it tonight, so it's just us two.
Just
unfortunately,
us. Just, never mind.
Yeah, like the Just Us League,
Just
man.
Us League.
I've been rereading Christopher Priest's Deathstroke, and he does that pun a lot. Unfortunately, Steph and I don't really have a thing that both of us like that Theo doesn't, so we can't do a Tom Taylor cast or something like that.
I like Steph. She likes purple. I mean, I don't love her at all to the extent you do, but I appreciate it.
Theo likes Steph too. It's not like I don't know. All right. So we had solicitations this last couple of weeks, and so we're going to go through some of the Batman news. Some of this may be tangential, but, it's our podcast, so We're going to do it. First thing is, Batman is going to have 3 issues in February. All of them are going to be part of an arc called Joker Year 1, which is supposed to take place right after Joker gets out of the big acid vat. This is going to be, of course, connected to the whole Zur-En-Arrh and Mind Bomb plan that Chip Zdarsky's been doing. It's going to be illustrated by Giuseppe Camuncoli, with backups set in the present, illustrated by, I don't remember who. But it's another artist who I think is pretty good. What do you think about Joker Year 1?
So you think there's going to be parallels to Zur-En-Arrh? Do you think there's going to... So, Joker has a nice person inside of him? Is this the Jack Napier of the main continuity?
I mean, honestly, Jack Napier is just the Two-Face person. I think that Jack Napier is Two-Face, except using the Joker brand. So,
well, what's Zur-En-Arrh then?
Zur-En-Arrh is an attempt to make a dumb thing Grant Morrison did make sense.
Okay.
Come at me, Grant Morrison fans. Come at me.
Theo would hear us get a real answer.
I don't think so. I think that so I'm back on my Zdarsky happy train. Gotham War was bad, but I think that Zdarsky is doing interesting things, and I'm still enjoying reading it mostly. It's going to be rough for me because I really am not a Joker fan, but hopefully he's able to draw me into it, which I think he probably can.
Yeah. I mean, he took things that I wasn't always super excited about. I made them interesting. And Gotham War was as good as it could be in his hands for a few pages.
Next up, Dan Jurgens, who is one of DC's longest working consistent writers and artists, is actually getting his own black label. And surprisingly, for the man who wrote and drew The Death of Superman, he's actually doing a Batman book. And it's called The Bat-Man, First Knight spelled Knight, and it's about Batman in the 1940s, in the World War II era. It'll be illustrated by Mike Perkins, who I believe... The thing I know Mike Perkins is from the Lois Lane miniseries that Greg Rucka did. back in 2018. What do you think about The Batman First Night Black Label?
Well, hopefully. I guess he can use guns. Because OG Batman used guns, right?
Yes.
But, I don't know. I guess the one thing I always think of when I think of 40s Batman is Papa Spank.
Tom King left that out, just so you know.
I know, so hopefully they'll just reimagine him slightly more respectful to non-white men. But it sounds like a fun idea. It's not totally my jam, but I do enjoy Dan Jurgens, so...
Dan Jurgens is, I think he's a pretty respectful writer.
Yeah.
I don't think he would, go to the Papa Spank. I could be wrong. I just don't think so.
No, it's a fun idea. I mean, if it's reinventing it to be the old Batman, but still palatable to today's audiences, I think that would be interesting. This isn't like Gotham War, where when you read about it, you're like, oh, why? This is an interesting idea.
I don't know if I was super upset about the concept of Gotham War. I definitely wasn't excited about it because I don't like heroes fighting heroes. Although Catwoman, I guess, is sort of technically not a hero, but they write her as if she's a hero most of the time.
She's the girlfriend!
And I also was so focused on night terrors that I didn't really spend a whole lot of time ramping up to Gotham War. So I think that's partly why I wasn't dreading it the way I'm dreading shoot. I was watching some YouTube videos and they're theorizing, and I think this is quite reasonable. They're theorizing that all this Amanda Waller making the world hate superhero things is an attempt to create a DC Civil War event in about 2 years, and I am not excited about that. So I think that's sort of what I'm thinking about.
That's a long drag.
Yeah, especially since the stories leading up to that are the ones that I tend to have least interest in, but I'm still not an event guy. Even though I enjoyed Night Terrors and Dark Crisis more than I expected, I still feel generally not excited about events.
Well, they also don't always have anything... I totally avoided... What was the one where all the superheroes died? And...
Technically, that's Dark Crisis.
Yeah, and then there was the one... Leviathan. I totally skipped Leviathan. And I don't feel like I missed anything.
I had to review Leviathan, and I'm really bummed because actually the lead up to Leviathan was in Action Comics. And I know Bendis is a controversial Superman writer, but I think Bendis's Action Comics was actually mostly a really fun book. There's a lot of good texture to Metropolis and some good spy action. And so the lead up to Superman Leviathan was really exciting. I was really enjoying it. And then I reviewed the book, and it was a wet drip paper towel of a comic book, and I was very bummed out.
That's very sad.
Yeah, you definitely didn't miss it.
Well, I mean, just also, so I just feel like most events don't affect the canon comics at all. There's very few of things that affect it. Maybe someone mentions, oh yeah, you were gone for a little bit, or I guess, I don't know. There doesn't seem to be long repercussions to any of them.
Yeah. I think that's a discussion I don't really have energy for right now, unfortunately.
And I don't have enough input, so.
It just gets into the whole, what are stakes in comics?
Yeah.
What should people how do we think about events that last, and so on and so forth?
Oh, I saw a cycle once. It was Dick becomes Nightwing. Batman gets hurt. Nightwing becomes Batman. Batman comes back. Dick becomes Nightwing. And then it was just a never-ending cycle. Although he hasn't been Batman.
He was Batman in 2018. That's the last time I can think of it. I feel like that's only happened 3 times.
But it was an interesting idea in my head that, yeah, with comics being comics, there's only so much they're willing to change and do. And everything else is either a cycle that ends up back at the status quo or...
Yeah. The big thing that tends to last are new characters.
Yeah.
But again, that I feel like I have to spend a lot of energy on that particular discussion because it involves a lot of history and a lot of analysis of why do things last and so forth. But
So forth.
it's a worthwhile discussion. I'm just kind of tired, so we're gonna move on to our next line item, which is The Sinister Sons is starting in February, written by Peter Tomasi, drawn by David LaFuente. And you might be thinking, but Ian, you don't like Super Sons, you don't like Peter Tomasi, and this actually has nothing to do with Batman because it's the son of Sinestro, who's a Green Lantern villain, and Lorazad, who's a Superman villain. But I don't care. I want to know what Steph thinks about this as a Super Sons fan.
Sounds like they're okay. Looks like Damien and John are involved. Maybe. They're on one of the covers. Are they involved at all? I don't know. It sounds like they're trying to hop on the back of Super Sun's name and sell a new product. I might give it a peek-see, but I'm not super excited. Super excited. It's funny.
So fresh off of the swimsuit cover, Nort's Swimsuit Illustrated. Nort's Illustrated Swimsuit Special. We're having a sweater weather collector comic incentive thing where they're doing 8 comics, including Birds of Prey, Batman, Nightwing, Titan, and Titans, all of which get a sexy / winter themed cover. Unfortunately, I don't really like most of the artists they picked. Laura Braga does a nice Power Girl, but that's not in the Batman universe. Do you think that this is actually selling comics, or do you think that some editor just thinks it's selling comics?
Oh, I saw Nightwings, didn't know that was what you were talking about, but that he's in his underwear in the snow for some reason.
Yeah, and then the Batman one by Kevin Wada actually has Bruce with a bigger butt than Nightwing. And then the Titans cover has Starfire, but she's in like the most modest one-piece bathing suit of the entire collection. I'm just like, Starfire is supposed to be the sexiest of all these characters. What is happening?
Which Batman issue is it?
Oh, I don't remember. I think it's the middle one.
It's 143, yeah.
Yeah. But like Bruce's butt's really sticking out there.
It is. He seems disproportionate though, like apart from the butt.
Kevin Wada sometimes he's not the greatest in anatomy in my opinion.
Yeah, like his torso is huge and then his arms are tiny.
Yeah. As I said, I'm not a huge fan of the artists they picked except Laura Braga.
I'm sure these pinups appeal to a certain demographic that are going to buy them.
I mean, I will not lie. I bought the Action Comics Art Germ and Otto Schmidt swimsuit covers. And I bought the Mikel Hanin Batman swimsuit cover. But I don't think I bought any actual comics for the swimsuit cover. I just bought comics I already was going to... Well, no, that's not true. I wasn't collecting Action at that time. So no, they did actually get me for a couple comics.
Yeah. I think there's a sale for it. I don't know if we need a winter one, but I guess...
Apparently they think we do.
I was going to say, if you're looking for skin, there's not a lot of real skin to find in the winter, so you might as well find it. I don't know. I'm just stretching. I don't know.
I don't know. I think that this is somewhat effective, and I'm not...
But it's a lot of male showing off, so it's like there's...
Well, they're trying to be less...
Sexualizing of women?
No, they are sexualizing the women, but they're trying to be less exclusively sexualizing the women. They're trying to like have equal sexualizing, which
if you're gonna do that with Batman, take the cowl off. Sorry, shirtless Batman
yes.
without his.
I mean, they did in this one.
They did in this one, and then but still.
No, I just think they picked. I don't want to say these are bad artists. I just think they didn't pick the right artist for this. Like the sexy covers for the Robins miniseries. I think they picked the right artist for that. They were pretty sexy. Actually, Steph's was the least sexy, which I appreciated because I didn't want to feel like a perv buying the Steph cover. Because I had to buy the Steph cover.
Of course you did. I'm glad that the artist was able to keep your sensibilities intact.
I actually really liked both the covers Steph appeared on. She was in her own cover by that nice... Oh, shoot. I can't remember her name, but she does a lot of variant covers. And then David Tuleski did a group shot where all the Robins were exercising together. And that was actually just really like friendly family fun, even though they were all in swimsuit or exercise suits. It's like they were just having a good time. It wasn't like the Dick cover where he's all sweaty and looking at the audience like, ooh, come here. Babs Tarr was definitely going for the bedroom eyes in that one. So it's just apparently DC is getting a sales response from this, so they're going to keep doing this. So I just thought,
it's the only reason they'll do anything.
I don't I mean, that's the way you pay your writers, right?
Mm-hmm. The dollar bills.
And artists.
Yeah.
All right, next one. We finally have a Jason title. It is not what we expected, though. It is Sean Martinborough writing, I want to say this is miniseries, but they're a little unclear, called Red Hood, The Hill. And it's a sequel to a No Man's Land story from a long time ago, and also the 2-issue arc that he did at the end of the Rebirth Red Hood run. And they're publishing those 2 issues as a single issue called Red Hood, The Hill, number 0, similar to how they collected the Penguin backups as The Penguin 0.
Well, I mean, that'd be good for someone like me, because I sure don't remember that at all.
I know, right?
I
didn't read them.
I didn't read comics in...
Yes, you did. This was after...
No.
This was the end of Rebirth.
No. You said...
In No Man's Land.
I didn't read No Man's Land.
No, they're not collecting that one, although they should.
Okay.
But they're collecting... I don't think any of us read the Red Hood one either, did we?
No, I collected Red Hood for a little bit, and then I kind of tapered off.
Yeah, but this was issues 49 and 50, or 50 and 51, so...
It's pretty late.
I am surprised. I thought Rosenberg was going to get the Red Hood title, because he was doing so much with Jason.
Well, DC never takes our suggestions for things, as we'll talk about in Outsiders.
That's not 100% true. I suggested like 10 things that DC decided to do while James Tynion was writing for them. But then James Tynion left and they stopped listening to me.
I'm sure that
I'm kidding about them listening to me, but they actually did do like 10 things I predicted, including both the Robins and the Batgirls book. DC is advertising 2024 as having a trinity of evil, which is Brainiac for Superman, Zur-En-Arrh for Batman, and Amanda Waller as a woman, but she's definitely not a Wonder Woman villain, so I don't know what they're thinking there. I believe this is probably working towards this DC Civil War thing, but that probably won't happen until 2025, although I could be wrong. We'll see. What do you think about the Trinity of Evil? Do you think Zur-En-Arrh really should be on this Trinity?
No. Because that would take real Batman off the table, right?
Yeah, that's kind of the problem. Although there's plenty of Bat family we could read about.
No, that's... I mean, that might... What is it? A vacuum creates something. I don't know.
Nature abhors a vacuum?
A vacuum must be filled. So if Batman's not there has to be someone. And I like a lot of the someones, but still, meh. I'm not super excited about that. What's it called?
Well, it's happening in the different titles. So Brainiac's going to be in Superman, and Zur-En-Arrh, of course, is in Batman. Wonder Woman has the Sovereign, but they're not putting him on the Trinity of Evil. I don't know how I feel. I feel like this is a weird marketing tactic because none of these stories are connected.
Well, in that case, it's just a regular villain of the week.
Exactly.
What the heck? That's weird. Maybe it's just more
Gotham Academy. Gotham Academy is coming back as a 3-part story in Batman the Brave and the Bold, to which I say, curse you, DC, for making me buy this terrible title, but I will because I love Gotham Academy. It's going to be written and illustrated by Carl Kerschel, who did the Batman backups in Batman Black and White and the Williamson run of Batman.
Who's Tristan
What do you think about this? Tristan Gray is the Man-Bat. He's the secondary love interest for Olive in the first 2 arcs of Gotham Academy. But he's a Man-Bat.
Fun. No, that'll be exciting. I mean, hopefully it's good.
I have enjoyed all of the Gotham Academy stories they have published since Gotham Academy closed. So that would be the Batman Black and White with Batman and Maps, and then the Maps Robin story with Batman, then the little short story in Saved by the Bell Rev. I think those are the 5 stories they've done. And then they collected all those in one. And I was a little salty because I was like, I already bought all these. Why are you collecting it? And they didn't. So I didn't buy that because they didn't even draw a new cover for it. I felt that was lazy. If they'd drawn a new cover, I might have bought it. But I already owned all the single stories. And I kind of hope that they print a new trade with these 3 stories plus the 5 previous stories and maybe a new story. Hint, hint, DC. But since I'm going to buy the original ones because I want to encourage DC to do more Gotham Academy.
That'll be fun.
I do wish they'd just make a miniseries, though. Why make me buy Brave and the Bold? Just do a Gotham Academy miniseries and I'll buy it.
What else is in there?
a bunch of non-Batman stories. A Lois Lane story and something else.
Oh, they don't even deserve more than a paragraph to describe all of them.
Yeah.
Lois Lane, Artemis.
Oh yeah, Artemis. Hopefully she'll be the Red Hood version.
Batman Black and White from Dan Waters and
Oh yeah, that'll be fun.
We're still salty.
Yes. Detective Comics news. Batman is still going to be possessed by the Asthma demon in February. Why?
Want to bet it's still 3 days. Long. It's still going to be 3 days before he gets hanged.
I'm just not super excited about the fact that I have to deal with asthma-possessed Batman for another 3 months.
Well, you know what? And with the Trinity of Evil being Zoranar's still around. So 3 months from now, both of the books are still going to be dealing with this garbage. I mean, these really
I'm more interested in Zoranar than the asthma demon, though.
I suppose.
Nightwing is going to have a backup written by Michael Conrad that's going to go back in time to the 1300s with an ancestor of Dick Grayson. This is kind of a wacky concept. Sound interesting at all?
No, because there's one of two ways you can go. He has nothing to do with anything because it's
like that terrible backup for Shadows of the Bat.
Or it's see how similar Dick's ancestor is to him, and he also had a secret identity. It's like, why? But why did he have that? And then we're going back into the whole discussion we had a few months ago about no destiny and no control because you're destined to loop your life forever.
Yeah. I wish that the Detective Comics arc was actually more focused on that. Right now it's just so focused on the stupid
they had a whole
plot.
stupid issue about it, and this doesn't even matter.
Yeah. I think I hope. Maybe I'm being too optimistic. I hope it's going to matter in the end, but...
What if Time Skippy Bruce from that issue comes and saves? So, I don't know. I got nothing.
Oh, that'll be kind of fun. Lastly, Poison Ivy in her solo series is getting a new origin. Same creative team.
It's still not over.
That's the thing is Poison Ivy has a fan base. I hate to admit it, but it does.
Look, I get that. This is not a pretty book. It's always so gross, and there's spores and mushrooms and cheating. Both Harley and Ivy have cheated on each other with Janet from HR.
Wait, what?
Yes!
Wow, I am way...
It's so annoying.
That is wild.
It's like, even if you're buying it for the shipping purposes, it's still gross. Anyway, whatever.
All right, well...
I'm not going to tell DC how to write its books.
That was a lot of Batman-related news, but most of it is relatively minor. I just was curious because I thought it was interesting to discuss most of them. So, this episode will be airing the day after Thanksgiving, so we're going to tell you, our audience...
American Thanksgiving.
We're going to talk about what we're thankful for American Thanksgiving.
I was going to say Canadian Thanksgiving is in October. Okay, so am I going first or you should go first?
You should go first.
Okay. I'm thankful for Wonder Woman and the Super Sons backup we're going to cover today because it was really cute. And I'm thankful for, because I understand what Theo's saying about John is not John because he's older now. But you know what? They're really trying to still get a bit of that Super Sons dynamic even though John is older. And I appreciate that DC is still trying even though they shot themselves in the foot. Even though Bendis shot them in the foot.
And then left.
After creating chaos. Ugh. But anyway, and I am thankful for Catwoman coming back, kind of, and Tech being the sandwich that Bat is coming on. But that's okay. It's being spread on. Anyway, that metaphor didn't go anywhere. But I'm thankful for the Super Sons Omnibus, and I'm thankful for Ian and Theo being my buddies, and even though comics are a bit of a drag right now, that we can still get together every 2 weeks and chit-chat and at least commiserate together and be there for each other when we're reading things that just aren't very fun. And sometimes, you think you're crazy because you're like, am I crazy for not liking this? And it's just nice having the feedback of, no, it's okay. Or then maybe, getting a different perspective on things and being, maybe that wasn't so bad. There were some things to like about that. Thank you. And I'm also thankful for all of our listeners and how you support us, because we couldn't do this without you. And so, anyway, that's what I'm thankful for.
Those are good things. I am thankful for Jorge Jimenez on Batman.
Ooh, yes.
Always. I just got the Mariko Tamaki Wonder Woman run, and I reread that and really enjoyed it. So I'm really glad that that's in my Wonder Woman collection now. I am thankful for Imaginext, which finally gave me an affordable Stephanie Brown action figure as Batgirl. Because I'm sorry, I'm not paying $90 for a 3.5-inch Stephanie Brown Batgirl figure. That's too much. I am thankful that we're getting the Wayne Family Adventures trade paperbacks or collections that I can read to my little 5-year-old nieces. Or how old are they? Yeah, they're about 5. And I'm definitely thankful for this podcast because it's given me a lot of exposure to different ways of thinking about the same stories in ways that help me to understand them better and fully make connections with people. So if you will tell us what you are thankful for on the Discord or on Twitter or on the website, that would be awesome. And of course, we would read those in the comments section.
Oh, I'm also thankful for manga, which I can escape to when comics are driving me crazy.
Ah, yes. For me, it's webtoons.
And webtoons, yes. I love the webtoons.
Okay. Let us move on to our review section, in which we're doing 2 titles. First, Detective Comics, and then Batman and Ramen. So, to start us off, we have Detective Comics number 1077. Written by Ram V, art by Jason Sean Alexander, and colors by Dave Stewart. Shavad taunts Batman as she leads him to the gallows in broad daylight before a crowd. No one cares, and no one is coming to save you. But they are. 3 days earlier, Catwoman, Jim Gordon, Oracle on the phone, Aiko Hasegawa, Cassandra Cain, Leanne Shoes Harper, and Cheshire all gather to rescue Batman. Shoes tell them about her ally, Solomon Grundy, while Selina shows them Mr. Freeze, willing to help as well. Gordon is irate, but Selina reminds him that they are trying to save Batman. That comes before their distrust of Freeze. Selina visits Batman in Old Arkham. She promises she will never let him fall, then vanishes as the guards come. Prince Arzen's lieutenants think they should kill Catwoman and her team before the hanging, but Arzen says they must appear clean in the public eye. As she walks home in street clothes, Selina runs into Azrael, searching for Batman. She recruits him to her cause. First question. This is basically an issue of Ram V's Catwoman series. How do you feel about that?
Well, so I wasn't as into the Catwoman series. I kind of would glaze over it just because I was not a fan of Father Valley. So I don't know if I have the emotional connection to it to compare the two, but it was definitely heisty. Very sort of, again, not much happens, but we have a nice little scene where Selina goes to visit Bruce, and we can only assume that she got the attention of the security guards on purpose. And I think I liked Selina's characterization and her interaction with Gordon. But honestly, other than those two things, I do not understand why Cheshire's here. I mean, I do understand why Cheshire's here. I don't understand why Cheshire's here. But, overall, I would say this was compared to what else we've been getting. If we're looking for silver linings, this was not the worst issue.
No, I would agree. I did really enjoy that Catwoman run. I definitely wasn't a huge fan of Father Valley, but more of the way Ram V wrote Selina. And thinking about it, most of this issue is Ram V writing established characters. It's not Ram V writing the frickin' Orkhams again. And I still think that Ram V's ideas for the Orkhams aren't necessarily bad, but his execution of them has been very unconvincing. It is not... I don't care about the Orkhams. Especially not when Ramvi's basically downgraded Ra's al Ghul to a henchman instead of a warlord. And yes, I know that later he becomes the warlord, but it still feels like a downgrade and kind of a... I don't think it's super respectful to Denny O'Neil's creation of Ra's al Ghul. Now, maybe you can argue that you need to add more depth to it because Denny O'Neil pronounced Ra's al Ghul incorrectly or whatever, but it still doesn't sit right with me. But when he's writing these established characters, I think he has a really good grasp of their voices, which means that I'm having a good time. Plus, he's picked a bunch of characters like Jim Gordon and Cassandra Cain and Catwoman and Azrael, who I really like. So that combined, I think, just makes me really enjoy it a lot more.
But also stuff is kind of happening. I mean, I would say not as much happened as last time. I would say we just really got the cast of characters and potential plans and a cute little Batcat moment. But other than that, again, not too much is happening.
Well, like all good heist stories, I would not be surprised if we revisit some of these moments and they have deeper meaning. You know,
sure.
Not everything, the reveal thing that you usually get in a heist movie. I am surprised, but pleased that Jason Sean Alexander is continuing to be the artist for this arc. Apparently, he's the artist for the entire arc. How do you think his art's working from issue to issue? This is our second issue with him.
So I'd say this is not my favorite style. I wouldn't probably choose him as an artist, but that being said, it's very, very decent, and I think he does, even though he's got like a scratchier art style, he still puts care into the characters. I know some art styles that are kind of like this, and when it comes to like faces and women, it's like, whoa, something out of a nightmare. But this, he still somehow manages to make profiles and people very, very nice. Especially really, really close-ups of eyes and stuff like that. He does a pretty... Selina's eyes are really cool in this issue. So even though, again, not my jam, it's still pretty good. And I think a good fit for the feel.
I agree. He reminds me a lot of Kelly Jones, but more impressionistic and not quite as crazy with the ears.
Yeah.
And I don't hate Kelly Jones.
Still a little crazy with the ears.
A little crazy. I just said not quite as crazy. I didn't say not crazy. Those ears do get a little excessive, Mr. Alexander. Part of me is just pleased that we've got consistency again, although looking at solicits, we're getting a bunch of multiple issue artists once again, so get it together, DC. I think for a heist story, I honestly would have picked a different artist, because heists tend to be a lot more, I want to say, upbeat and sort of...
fun.
Yeah. I'm not saying this isn't fun, but it's definitely like super moody and it's got all the darkness of the hanging going on, which fits the art, but I don't know. I mean, I understand that the entire run is supposed to be a dark, moody opera, and I appreciate the levity that the heist does bring to it. I just maybe want a little bit more levity. I'm greedy. Let's move to our backup. So this is written by Dan Waters, and art is by Casper Weingard, I'm going to say, even though I'm not sure that's right, because it's Wijngaard, so it could be Wijngaard. Leon Shoes Harper shows up at Cheshire's door with Solomon Grundy, asking for help. Cheshire thinks of her life, her countless murders, her feelings of unworthiness. Leon says that Cheshire is toxic because of her guilt, but she's asking for help to save the city and her friends that she loves. Cheshire agrees to help her daughter. The first question, did this give you some context on who Cheshire was? Because I know she showed up in their Dark Designs, that prelude to Joker War, and she had a little backstory in the Secret Files back then, but she hasn't really shown up a ton in Batman comics since, and she wasn't a big part of the Tom King run either. Mm-hmm. So does this give you some context on who she is?
I mean, a little. I definitely know more about her from the show, Young Justice. So that's really how I...
Young Justice Cheshire is nothing like this Cheshire.
Well, but I mean, she was together with Roy. She's a killer, and I didn't get into the newer seasons of Young Justice, so I don't know if she got pregnant. But, oh no, was she pregnant before then? No, she and Roy already had the baby. Anyway, so I knew there was a baby and that Roy's the dad. But other than that, like, I know next to nothing other than the few guest appearances Cheshire's had. So yeah, I mean, I guess a little bit. She's basically, she's basically Lady Shiva.
Yes.
Whatever.
This is one of the problems I have with the retcon of Lady Shiva as Cassandra Cain's mother, is it does not feel significantly different. I like Lady Shiva better than Cheshire because Cheshire is a vicious, unrepentant, gleeful, sadistic murderer who just kills lots of people for fun. Shiva at least has this weird philosophical thoughtfulness about her death and mayhem. So,
And she trained Tim, right?
yes, Shiva did train Tim and Batman. I hate Cheshire as a character. I think she is evil and gross, and I don't enjoy murder people.
Well, so I didn't quite get her journey here. Like, just the whole time she's like, I'm a bad person. I kill. The day you did this thing, I slaughtered this people. And I was like, okay. And then suddenly she's like, I'll do it for you. And she gives her a hug. It's like that literally, there was no journey of discovery to get to this point. I don't know. I guess maybe a little bit. She's like, I didn't kill the kid of the couple I murdered the day I dropped you off at the orphanage. I wouldn't have done that before. It's like, oh, well. What is it that Sokka says? We'll give him the not big as big a jerk as he could have been award.
Well, what I like about this is I am tired of DC taking their completely unrepentant, murderous female supervillains and giving them tragic backstories so that we feel sorry for them and it's okay that they murder people. Poison Ivy. I really appreciate that Dan Waters does not shy away from Cheshire just being an evil murder person. So this story really won me over because I was afraid it was going to be Cheshire is just a poor, misunderstood person who needs a hug. No, she is a murderer. So I liked that. I think it's interesting that Caspar Weingart is doing the art for this instead of the main story because I think Caspar Weingart actually might be better for a heist.
Yeah.
Whereas Jason Alexander might be better for this kind of dark, emotional story. But I'm not saying I dislike either of them. I just think it's funny that their styles seem to be flip-flopped with the stories they're telling.
I loved that Grundy was mentioned in the main story and looks like he'll be a part of the plan.
Yes.
And I am glad that he's here trying to drink tea. That was pretty funny.
Once again, Waters and Ramvi, just like Ramvi and Cy Spurrier, are doing a really great job of intertwining their stories. Because this is a prequel to the main story. It explains how Leon got to Catwoman.
And why Cheshire is involved at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. I feel like I like the intertwining of the backup in the main story, and that continues to be a positive. I think that's really good. I wish more of the backup stories were like this. I mean, obviously Chip Zdarsky is doing the same thing because he's writing both the backup and the main story. But the Wonder Woman backups are not really intertwined. Not that they're bad, but they're choosing to go a very different direction with them and have for the last several years because Wonder Woman backups have been young Diana for a long time, and now it's going to be Diana's daughter for a while. And then the Green Lantern backups have been Sinister Sun backup, and before that they were the John Stewart Green Lanterns, or leading into the new John Stewart series. The writer, Jeremy Adams, has said on Twitter that Ron Mars is going to be writing the backups, and he's going to start intertwining with that. And that's exciting. I just kind of wish they'd intertwine from the beginning, because then you could get more momentum quicker. But we'll see. They've been using backups as sort of launch platforms for new titles. I prefer backups as intertwined stories with the main story.
Actual intertwined.
Yes.
The boy had us on a primrose path.
What? Oh. Yes. As we mentioned, we are not a fan of House of Gotham. That was a terrible, terrible backup, and we felt very betrayed in the end.
For sure.
I still like the art, though. I really like Fernando Blanco's art.
Yeah.
All right, so let's give Detective Comics number 1077 a rating out of 5 Gatos.
I will give it a 375. I really liked the Cat Bat. I liked Catwoman taking charge. thought the art was fine. I liked some of the art pictures. There weren't a lot of Argums in here.
I know, right? That was a big plus for me.
That was a big plus. I understand there's like brainwashing going on. I think it's just stupid and weird that, I don't know. I felt like the capturing of Batman was done like really covertly and secretly, but then it's like, oh no, but it's okay. We're just going to parade him in front of everyone and hang him. It's weird.
Yeah, I'm kind of... The same thing I feel happened with things like City of Bane and Joker War, where it's all of a sudden, right after Joker starts his plan, or Bane starts his plan, he has complete control of the city, and everything is terrible. I'm just like, that should have taken longer. What's going on here? Yeah. One of the reasons I like Batman Eternal, because that takes like 30 issues before they declare martial law. I gave this a 3.75 as well.
Yay!
So we have an average of 3.75 and a mode of 3.75. It's definitely looking up on the series. Let us move to our second story, Batman and Robin number 3.
Oh no, I don't know any of the things.
Oh, it is written by Joshua Williamson and art is by Simone DeMeo.
Damian remembers his training with Bruce and Alfred as he faces White Rabbit versus Shush and the Terrible Trio. Batman locks Shush in a cell, but she tells him she's hidden a bomb in Blackgate, and he takes off looking for it. While he defuses the bomb, Robin protects White Rabbit from the trio, but Shush arrives. When she kidnaps White Rabbit, Batman and Robin take to their vehicles in pursuit. Batman rescues White Rabbit while Damian goes after Dr. Kafira. Dr. Kafira. When he reaches the prisoned doctor, a strange man-bat attacks. Bum, bum, bum.
Who is Dr. Kafira again?
I don't remember it, but he was at the beginning. I do remember he was like, I don't remember.
What? Why does everyone care about him? What did he invent?
I don't remember. But I don't remember. I remember his name at the beginning, but I don't even remember why they're going after all these people. I don't know if the story's the main point.
Hello, editor Steph here from the future. So I went back and I read Batman and Robin number 1, and Dr. Kafira is a scientist who does work in DNA sequencing, and he was being targeted on the Zeppelin he was on by White Rabbit before Batman and Robin captured her. But then later in the same issue, he is kidnapped by the Terrible Trio and Shush and a bunch of other animal family members. So, hope that helps.
You missed an important part, which is that Shush might not be working with Hush. Bum, bum, bum. Hush might have nothing to do with it.
Well, that's certainly what White Rabbit says.
My favorite part of this was Bruce telling Damian to go back to school. And Damian's like, if you give me one real reason why I should go to school, I'll do it. He says, I guess I'll see you at the...
That reminds me of the Wayne Family Adventures where Harley Quinn... Damian's like, but all the villains have PhDs, so why should I go to school since it turns people evil?
It's pretty fun. Yeah, this was definitely, it was a weaker issue. It's a middle of the story issue. Definitely. Not as much character interaction, or rather, like, character development, character exploration. Just a little chat between Bruce and Damian about going to school. But, still enjoyed the art, and yeah, I'll want to go back and start over, because, I'm not good reading stories month to month. I need to maybe go back and reread the first 2 to remember why everything is what it is. But
I think part of the problem is that we're trying to fit this in with both, technically 2 events, because Detective Comics is starting on this bi-weekly event, so we're reading extra issues of it. And Batman had all those extra issues with the Red Hood tie-in and the Catwoman issues, and we had to connect all those.
Yeah.
So fitting a bunch of extra stories, it's harder to tell what's going on with this single storyline that has a lot of stuff that we're trying to figure out. Like, Williamson's trying to keep it mysterious, but that makes it difficult when you're trying to fit it with a bunch of other storylines in your head, I think.
I actually got really excited because there was an editor's note. It's like, oh, when does this take place? And it's like, oh no, it's just issue 1 of this series. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I would say I'm still enjoying it. This was, again, like I said, weaker issue, but it's still like the ray of sunshine in my reading, in my pull list, whatever. Makes me happy. The art makes me happy. The bright colors. Damien being a cutie pie. I love it.
I thought it was quite fun. I think this storyline's taking a little bit too long.
Yeah, they haven't done much.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. I mean, there's some good action. I'm not saying there's not good action, but I want more character digging your teeth into the characters, and it doesn't feel like we have quite that much. I'm hoping that Bruce will convince Damien to go back to school, because that's the kind of stuff that I think does get you more character opportunities, because it has more interactions and you can introduce new characters.
More personal, emotional conflict rather than
Exactly.
bad guys all the time. Yeah.
What do you think of White Rabbit? Because Williamson said originally White Rabbit was just going to show up in the first issue, but he kind of decided to make her a bigger character, I think after that art term cover that we put on the cover of the podcast.
I mean, I do enjoy it when there's like a character that has their own things. Like you have you have Shush and the Terrible Trio doing one thing, and it's like, what is White Rabbit doing? Like she seemed willing to work with Damien. So what I am interested in what her deal is, but we've just learned so little about what any of the bad guys are doing in 3 issues that it is a little frustrating.
Yeah. So an enjoyable book, but I'm hoping that Williamson gives us a bit more information and characters soon. And I think White Rabbit is fun. I don't find Shush very fun. Shush just kind of feels very generic thug to me, or generic sort of like mid-level mob boss. She's got henchmen, she's powerful, but she doesn't really have a character. To be fair, I don't think Hush has a character either. White Rabbit at least has a personality and is funny.
Yeah.
I do think that Williamson tends to do... His dialogue tends to be a little looser and more slangy, and there's something about the dialogue that often feels a little less precise than I enjoy. But I will admit that my taste in dialogue voicing is very different. I don't mind if everyone sounds similar or the same, like a Joss Whedon TV show or Brian Bendis comic book. Everyone has that very quippy back and forth type dialogue. I enjoy that. It doesn't bother me. What I tend to prefer in dialogue is very information, emotion, and character dense dialogue that has a lot of texture to it. I don't really care as much about voice consistency per se, although the nice thing about writing Damien is his voice is so strong that most writers can do it pretty easily. And Williamson continues to do it well. Definitely not saying that. But his villains tend to, I don't know, they kind of talk like Ninja Turtles. Like, I almost feel like they're going to say Cowabunga next line. There's just something kind of weird and goofy feeling about the dialogue for villains that I'm trying to articulate. Did you catch any of that?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, maybe White Rabbit, but that wouldn't be all the villains. It's just one.
No, I felt that the Terrible Trio had a little bit of it, though, too.
I didn't think they said that much, but...
No, they mostly just have, like, real animal heads and try and eat people. It's weird. That leads to my next question. What's the deal with this book being all about weird animal villains?
Animals? I don't know.
Like, we've got White Rabbit, and we've got the Terrible Trio with actual animal heads, and then we've got this weirdly articulate man bat.
I don't know. Maybe it's for a certain demographic.
Oh gosh, please no.
No shame. No kink shame.
I will definitely look at you judgely. All right, so let's give Batman and Robin number 3 a rating out of 5 weird animal villains.
I'd say a mid-range, 2.75, I guess. A little disappointing, like you were saying. It's not very rich in much character or plot or motivation or whatever, but still fun.
Yeah, I'm giving this a 3 because it kept me interested and entertained through most of it, and perhaps it's coasting a little bit on the goodwill he earned in Robin, but that's how authors work. If you earn goodwill, sometimes you get a little more time from readers to set things up, and you can make a few mistakes and they'll forgive you. I think Williamson will probably pull it up. That gives us an overall rating of 2.88. It's a good book. People should pick it up. Moving on to Greater Gotham. And we have a pretty light week, but I do want to talk a little bit about some of our titles. starting with Nightwing number 108.
You know what? I gave it a neutral because I didn't really like the main story. I don't know. I just feel like nothing's like every time I read the pirate stories, I make sure I am actually reading the next issue because it just feels like nothing is happening and it's just same repeat issue for the last 3 issues. But then you get to the backup, it's like, oh no, this is a different issue. Although I guess something horrible did happen to B. B might not be okay. I loved after all the posturing of how powerful and awesome B is. She
just beat up and stabbed really quickly.
I know. I was like, oh, that was okay. And then the backup was really cute. I loved how it was editor's note referred back to like 1940 something. It's like, oh yes, that issue. Of course, I just read that the other day. Not. But anyway, that was fun in a bun. So thumbs down for the main, thumbs up for the backup, giving it a neutral.
You know, I'm kind of in the same place. I appreciate that you articulated that it does feel like the main story's kind of treading water. I agree that I'm not remembering anything except the dumb jokes about Nightwing wearing the pirate shirt. Like, yeah, that's the most memorable thing about these issues, and that's not good. I feel like B, I don't dislike B. I don't think she needed to come back. I definitely don't think she needed to come back as a super hardcore secret pirate.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm not like mad.
No.
But it's not changing my mind about Taylor Nightwing. And I did really like the backup. I thought that all the character dynamics between Dick and Babs were really nice, and Dick fighting these weird bad guys was pretty fun. And then, of course, the Bat family hanging out together was great. And I really like Serge Kuna's art. I think he's a really good artist. And I wish they'd put him on, I don't know, the main Nightwing book. Not that the main artist for this issue was bad, but I think Acuna would have been better.
I'm not a big fan of Dick's face in the main.
It's very anime, just very stylized.
Oh, you mean the backup one?
Yeah, the backup.
Yeah, like, no, it wasn't. The main one's boring.
The main one's kind of puddingy. It's not like, as I said, it's not bad, but it's kind of generic house style. And they're definitely trying to copy Bruno Redondo's style, even though Bruno Redondo's moving on to Superman. I don't know. I thought that Redondo was committed to this book, so it kind of, I don't know what they're doing. Outsiders, number 1.
Neutral? It started incredibly boring.
So here's a question for you, Steph. Have you ever read the comic book Planetary by Warren Ellis and John Cassaday?
Nope.
So it is one of my favorite Vertigo books. It's basically, it starts out as a mystery where this guy kind of like wakes up and finds himself part of an organization that investigates weird stuff in the universe. And it's Vertigo, so it's technically a DC property, but it doesn't really directly influence DC except for some multiversal crossovers, which are actually pretty good, especially the Batman Planetary crossover. That one's really good. But this is pretty much Planetary in the main DC universe. So Batwing and Batwoman and this drummer character are investigating real weird stuff. I dig that. I thought the art was really fun and really cool looking.
I think if they hadn't called it Outsiders, I probably wouldn't have had different expectations. And so, or I would have had different expectations. And so maybe I would have enjoyed it more, but it just really didn't. Everything that, who do we like so much?
Brandon Thomas.
Everything Brandon Thomas has been building for Outsiders in all the extra stuff just didn't. This isn't it at all. And so it just was a little bummer for it to be called Outsiders.
I completely agree. This is... I have 2 feelings about this book. One is I am sad it's not a Brandon Thomas Outsider book, because I was really enjoying those backups and urban legend stories and whatever. There was like 6 of them, and they all built together into this cool, like, semi-future, semi-time travel-y, semi-weird team book where Duke Thomas actually has a personality, and it was very fun. So I'm sad that we're not getting that. But I like this writing team, and I love Planetary. So this book being basically a Planetary sequel, I'm very excited.
If it had been called, like, Luke Fox, Super Sleuth,
right?
I probably would have. I would have known what my expectations should have been. It took me a few minutes to, like, realize what I was reading. I don't know.
No, I agree. I think that, like Birds of Prey, DC is not handling their properties super well. but I still think that it can be a very good book.
Yeah. I would say as something called The Outsiders, it was a neutral. As a book on its own, it was probably a mediocre thumbs up for me.
It's a very enthusiastic thumbs up for me.
Good.
Batman Off-World #1. Now, I know Steph didn't have a chance to read this one. I did because I'm trying to live up to my read the first issue and then stop.
I
promise.
looked at some of the pictures and decided this is
I
not
like the
for
art.
me.
Is it Doug Mankey?
I don't care about the art style. It was what the art was of. I was like, no, I'm good.
So this is a year 2 story. So it's Batman, very young Batman, apparently no real Bat family yet. And he ran into an alien in Gotham, and the alien beat him up. So he decided to Elon Musk it and jump on a rocket that Wayne Enterprise creates to get to this spaceship full of evil space pirates and fight the space pirates. It's basically Superman Warworld, which I just read in trade, which was pretty good. Adele on the Discord also will agree with me on this, that Superman Warworld is a really good story. So it feels like a rehash, even though it has really good, consistent art. And it is in character, I think, the way Jason Aaron is writing Batman, if he ran into an alien, I'm just not convinced you should have Batman run into aliens like this. So it's not something I'm super excited about following. They're trying to bait people into reading it by having Batman kissing a Tamaranian on the cover of the 3rd issue. We'll see. I'm not super sucked into it, but I don't hate it. So it's a neutral for me. Catwoman #59. I did not read this. So Steph, this is all you.
Okay, listen. Okay. Oh my gosh. So Catwoman died she did die. But she came back because a crazy cat lady pulled her out of the crater. And then the crazy cat lady talked about how cats have 9 lives and you can't kill the cats until they're dead 9 times, right? And then this crazy Catwoman disappears. And then Catwoman goes and she looks for Aiko. And she talks to Aiko. And then she shows her these weird scars on the side of her body that look like really badly drawn scratches. And then one of them is filled in with black. And that represents her first of 9 lives. So instead of thinking, I should value my life, she thinks, what are the most dangerous things I could do? And use up these 9 lives as quickly as possible. So she goes to some ex-girlfriend of Valmont's, who was the owner of the cat, to return the cat because Valmont had told her, don't return the cat to the original owner because you will surely die. So she's like, well, I'm going to go do it since I can't die. And then she goes and she talks to the lady and the lady stabs her in the heart and she doesn't return the cat and she calls Interpol and Interpol comes. Catwoman calls Interpol and Interpol comes and arrests the mass murdering ex-girlfriend of Valmont's. And then Catwoman's at home. And, no, she drops the cat off at Dario's for some reason. And then she goes home and she takes her shirt off and she's got 3 ticks taken off. So somewhere along the line, she died another time, including the time that the ex-girlfriend stabbed her in the heart. And that was the entire issue. And it was thumbs down.
That sounds so wild. What is happening?
Yeah. Thumbs down. Spoilers. For a book you shouldn't be reading. And yeah. Her logic and the writing were just not there. No, her voice is just terrible.
The return of the Valmont plot. Exactly what everybody needed.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, but no. And so she has this whole list. She's got a folder on her desktop of all the heists she wanted to do, but they would risk her life. So now she's going to try them all because she never wanted to do them before she could die. And now she doesn't care because she can die 6 more times and be fine. Or 5 more times and be fine. Anyway. Now,
this next book is a little bit of a cheat.
It's very much a cheat.
And I don't know if it will be a regular feature, but I'm certainly going to keep reading it because I have been reading it. And I'm going to recommend my co-host read it for reasons that will become clear in just a second. Wonder Woman #3. And we're not going to talk about the main Wonder Woman story at all because this is the Batman Universe comic podcast. Not the Wonder Woman Universe comic podcast. But the backup, written by Tom King and illustrated by Balin Ortega, is actually a Super Sons plus Lizzie, aka Trinity, although she doesn't have that name yet, story by Tom King. So, Steph, reading only the backup, what do you think?
So hold on. So I actually skipped back to 1 and 2, and those backups had nothing to do.
Those backups I thought were setups to the the Amazon's Attack series, aren't they?
Or just something. Something was Green Lantern, I think, and then something was something else. I don't know. There was one about two male lovers in their skivvies, and I was like, oh, this has nothing to do with children. These people are naked. But anyway,
I don't think I actually read the
is this going to be a regular thing? Like,
it's going to be a thing, I think, for at least the next 3 issues.
oh,
It's a big thing that Tom King has wanted to do. It's why he created Trinity, because he thought, hey, the Super Sons are very popular. Why doesn't Wonder Woman have a super daughter? So he's making the super kids in his backups. And I think that's clever.
It is clever. It was adorable. Okay, so no, it was great. I loved the John and Damien interaction. John was totally being goody two shoes snot and whatever. And then just Damien taking Lizzie on patrol was just fantastic. And her superhero-ness is already coming out, and it was great. And he taught her how. I love the idea of Ra's al Ghul and Talia teaching Damien to tie his shoes using the bunny method.
I mean, I learned the bunny method. I
did
literally
learn the
learned the
bunny
way he did. Like, some people learn bunny ears. I actually never learned that way. I learned the tree and the bunny.
I learned this is how you tie your damn shoe. Look at me.
That's not nearly as fun, man.
But no, the story was absolutely adorable. 100,000 thumbs up. It was really cute. And if there's going to be more of that, I am in for it. What do you think?
It's a thumbs up for me. I really enjoyed it. I think part of me thinks that they should let Tom King write a book of this.
Yes!
I don't know if he has enough plots or enough interest to write this long term, but he clearly has enough to do this backup. And they're going to be collecting these in a Trinity one shot. Hopefully the rest of them are as fun. So we'll have to see. But I know this is an idea that he really wants to develop more. And I think it's a good one.
That's exciting. Yes, I would totally buy that.
Wrapping up our Greater Gotham, we have Wayne Family Adventures episodes 110 and 111, Don't Be Mad, and Haley.
So we reviewed these. I think they either are available or will be available. I forget. But anyway, we reviewed Don't Be Mad. And don't be mad, but that was one of my least favorites, I think, ever. I just felt it was really weak, and I didn't like the gag, and I don't know. I didn't like it. It was not my favorite. Again, not bad. I don't think I would ever describe anything in Wayne Family Adventures as bad. It just was super weak and not my favorite. And then Haley was cute. Haley, again, wasn't strong, but at least there was a bit of a gag payoff, and the interaction between Tim and Dick was really cute. So that's what I'm there for. And so that was okay, but yeah. The first one was really weak.
I'm not necessarily going to disagree, but the fact that it's a Stephanie Brown story means it's getting a thumbs up.
I'd lose you on that one. I knew that.
And the Haley one is also really cute. And that kind of Wayne Family Adventures should have a lot of cuteness. So thumbs up for me there too. Definitely not the strongest week of Wayne Family. Well, 2 weeks of Wayne Family Adventures, but I'm not mad and I'm still reading. So
I'd rather read those than, almost said tech, but actually enjoyed this tech, most of the tech issues.
Yeah. I mean, compared to the last 3 months.
Yeah.
So we don't have a single comment to read from the Discord from last week's episode for our listener feedback section. But I will say we did have a really good conversation about DC's, what are they called? Compact Edition or whatever they're doing. I pitched my own version. Other people pitched what they think they should include. And it was a good conversation. So I was glad that bit of news sparked discussion and we had a whole conversation with multiple people chipping in their thoughts. And so hopefully something will do that. Maybe my Morrison hate and some Morrison fans will come and bash me in the comments. We'll see. I can take it.
But definitely y'all should tell us on X or whatever it's called now, Twitter.
I call it Twitter. I don't know whatever else is doing.
Or Threads or whatever. Or Discord especially. We'll probably read it on Discord. Tell us what you're thankful for this year. And it can be simple. It can be silly. It can be that you saved money because you didn't buy as many comics. Oh, this is sad. I just made myself sad.
I did save money. I still found comics. It's just, interestingly, not Batman comics. I'm reading a lot of Superman right now.
I just discovered a new anime, and I'm reading the manga now, too, because I can't wait weekly. It's called the Apothecary Diaries.
Huh.
It's a mystery in ancient China.
Oh, wow. Now that sounds interesting.
It was interesting.
Is there a webtoon version?
No.
Sadly, because my big thing is I don't like reading manga because reading regular comics and then switching to manga gives me a headache because going back and forth. And so webtoons are easy because it's up and down, and that doesn't give me a headache.
Yeah.
So, but
anyway,
everyone has their own preferences and their own brain. That is mine.
they do.
Let us close out with, we're going to read our patrons from a certain level. And thank you for contributing. So starting with Lisa Slack, Donovan Morgan Grant, Johnny McCloskey, Ian Miller, Stanton's Grave, Jessica Morales, Joshua Lappin-Bertoni, Ed Grouse, David Richards, Rob O, Captain America, Donald Townsend, Stephanie Mounts, Caspian73, and Brendan Roberts. Thank you all for helping us keep our archives up so new fans can binge listen to all of our episodes or keep up with our current offerings. We have a bunch of new tiers on Patreon, so please check those out if you want to do. There's shirt stuff and there's contributing stuff. Just lots of cool things that you can do on Patreon. That brings us to the end of our episode. I've been Ian.
This is Steph.
Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.
Bye.